Good morning. Today is June 15th, 2021, and this is a regular meeting of the Kings County Board of Supervisors. Due to issues arising from COVID-19, the board is using a WebEx teleconferencing format for today's meeting and may be participating via the World Wide Web. If you'd like to make a public comment through the teleconferencing format, please make sure that you are identified by name in the WebEx system. For those interested in commenting during unscheduled appearances, please use the raise your hand feature and wait to be recognized. You will be allowed up to 2 minutes for public comment. Each vote today will be a verbal or voice vote so that members of the public can hear how each board member has voted. After we have had a motion and a second regarding each item we're taking up today, there will be a roll call vote by district. And I will also make note that we have, today is June 15th. The state has changed its policies. We are awaiting the changes from OSHA, which should be coming out. But we are allowing public comment in person today. Also staff presentations in person today. Folks will be accounted for outside of the room and will be ushered in when it is their time to speak. So we will have some public participation as well today in the chamber. But with that, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Joe Neves.
Here.
Richard Valley.
Here.
Doug Verboon.
Here.
Craig Peterson.
Here.
Richard Fagundes.
Here. All right, we have 5 in attendance this morning. So at this time, we'll move to the invocation, and we have Pastor Sylvia Gaston from Koinonia Church. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Before we get started, I do want to apologize for the last time I was scheduled. I was not a no-show. I was actually in the wrong room with the wrong link. So I'm glad to be with you today. Let's bow our heads, shall we? Heavenly Father, we just come before you and we say thank you for this beautiful day, for this beautiful community that we are so honored to serve. God, I want us to never take for granted the many blessings. And so, Father, give us this day a heart of gratitude for our community, for the many blessings that you've bestowed upon us. And Lord, I just ask that you would instill wisdom and compassion and discernment to these 5 members of the board who will be making decisions for our county today, Lord. We thank you that you have brought us here to this point where we are coming out of so many restrictions, and we pray that the future is bright, Father, not only for us socially, but economically, in our health, in our safety, Lord. Bless all of our emergency responders and keep your hand over them, Lord. Keep your hand over Kings County, Father. We pray in Jesus' name.
You would please join me in the flag salute. Ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God,
Liberty and justice for all.
Right. At this time, we'll move to item 2, which is unscheduled appearances. Any person may directly address the board at this time on any item on the agenda or any other items of interest to the public that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. 2 minutes are allowed for each item.
It appears Lupe Villa has his hand up, and we do not have anyone in the hallway as of yet.
Okay, very good. Mr. Villa, welcome.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Lupe Villa with the Elections Department. I have 2 brief comments to make to the board today. My first comment is I would like to wish our current CAO, Rebecca Campbell, the best of luck in her new position. Thank you, Rebecca, for all your years of service to Kings County. And Mr. Chair, the second comment is I would like to give your board and the members of the public a brief update on the current recall efforts that are going statewide for the recall of Governor Newsom. On April 26, 2021, counties had to meet the deadline of submitting the ballot signatures for the recall efforts. Kings County submitted a total of 10,447 signatures, of which 1,824 were invalid. That is a total of 82.5% were valid signatures, total of 8653. The April 26th date initiated the start of what is called a 30 business day withdrawal period, in which members of the public who signed the recall had until June 8th to withdraw their signatures from the recall efforts. Kings County submitted 0 withdrawal signatures, and all other counties have until June 22nd to submit their reports to the Secretary of State. As of last Friday, June 11th, 36 out of the 58 counties have submitted their reports. It is unknown at this time how many signatures were withdrawn or in the efforts for the recall. The state would have to collect 224,234 withdrawal signatures for the efforts to fail the challenges of the recall. Additionally, the State Department of Finance requested that all counties submit estimated costs for the potential recall election. On June 8th, Kings County, my office, submitted an estimated cost of $515,000 to conduct the recall efforts or the recall election. And the other counties submitted their reports as well for a total of $250 million to conduct that recall election. As of today, we don't have a date on when the recall might happen, but it could happen as soon as August or September of 2021. With that said, that's the end of my comments. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Thank you for your comments. All right, further comments?
Do not have anyone else with their hand raised. We do have a staff member who is here to present for regular item C. And when it's time, we'll bring him in.
Okay. All right, then we'll move to item 3, which is approval of the minutes of the June 8th, 2021 regular meeting board. What's your pleasure?
I'll move for the minute from June 8th. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Verboen, second by Fagundes. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboen, Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Okay, we have 5 in favor, motion carries. We'll now move to item 4, which is the consent calendar. And all items have been listed. Is there any changes wished by the board?
No changes. I'll move this presented. Nev, second.
Okay, we have a motion by Verboen, second by Nevs. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboen,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, we have 5 in favor, motion carries. We'll move now to regular agenda items, item 5A, which comes from behavioral health.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Chairman and the members of the board. Unchung Perry from Behavioral Health. This morning, Behavioral Health is seeking approval from your board of the Mental Health Services Act, MHSA, fiscal year 2019-2020 annual update to be submitted to the Department of Healthcare Services and the Mental Health Services Oversight and Accountability Commission. MHSA is one of the major funding for the behavioral health and welfare and institution code section 5847 requires counties that receive MHSA funding to complete an annual update for each fiscal year. The annual update must include steering committee approval, stakeholder engagement, Behavioral Health Advisory Board, and the County Board of Supervisors approvals. One of the major process of the annual update is Community Program Planning, CPP process. This process gives the various groups and community an opportunity to give their input and feedback to our MHSA program and plan. In January 2021, the department began the CPP process with Eval Corp, the contractor service provider. This process included key stakeholder interviews, community focus groups, community surveys, presentation of needs assessments to the Behavioral Health Advisory Board, a 30-day public notice and comment period, and a formal public hearing as a final step. This 2019-20 annual update report is the last year to the adopted MHSA 3-year plan 2017-2020. It is to provide updates and service accomplishments and an assessment of the needs identified from an inclusive stakeholder process, and describe the proposed program and expenditure developed through CPT process to support the county's mental health system. Each year, during these various processes, that the department provides information of MHSA, including the 5 components of MHSA programs, which they are community services and support, prevention and early intervention, innovation, capital facilities and technological needs, and workforce education training. During this COVID working environment, with an assistant from EvalCorp, the department was able to complete the surveys, interviews, and hold focus groups successfully. In accordance with the MHSA, a 30-day public comment period began on April 23rd, 2021, and concluded on May 23rd. Upon completion of the public comment period, the Behavioral Health Advisory Board held a public hearing on May 24, 2021 to receive any final public comments. Department did not receive any public comments nor any received at the public hearing. Attendees of the public hearing included Kings County Behavioral Health Advisory Board members, county's contracted providers, and behavioral health staff. Revisions were not required to this 2019-20 MHSA annual update. A copy of the MHSA 2019-2020 annual update is on file with the clerk to the board and can be reviewed on Behavioral Health website at www.kcbh.org. This concludes my presentation, and I can answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, comments from the board? This is a action item.
There are no questions, Mr. Chair. Neves moves to accept the report. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Neves, second by Fagundes. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon, Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, we have 5 in favor, motion carries. Thank you for that. And
Thank
we
you.
will move now to item B, which comes to us from Community Development Agency.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. My name is Chuck Kinney. I'm with the Kings County Community Development Agency, and I come before you today to report the actions of the Kings County Planning Commission from their June 7th meeting, where they considered 3 projects. The first project being conditional use permit number 20-02 for Westlands Grape Solar, which proposes to develop a 250 megawatt solar facility together with battery storage and other incidental facilities located at 24916 Nevada Avenue. The commission approved this project 4 in favor and 1 absent. The second project considered was an amendment to conditional use permit number 19-01 for Westlands Chestnut Solar, which proposed 4 modifications to the previously approved conditional use permit. The first modification was to increase the number of permitted battery storage units from 44 units to 150 units. The second modification was to move the location of the operations center from the northwest portion of the project to the southwest corner of the project. Third modification was to allow a central microwave communication tower up to 175 feet tall to be added to the project. And the fourth modification was to include the Gentai line, which was previously approved in conditional use permit for Aquamarine Solar, to be included as part of this permit for purposes of delivering the energy to the grid. This project is to be located at 24998 Nevada Avenue. The commission approved this project 4 in favor and 1 absent. And the third and final project considered was an amendment to conditional use permit number 19-02 for Westlands Blue Solar, which proposed 3 modifications to the previously approved CUP. It increased the number of battery storage units from 84 units to 250 units. It moved the location of their operations center from the south central area of the project site to the north central area of the project site. And it too included the Gentai line from Aquamarine so that it can provide the electricity to the grid from that existing line. And that project is to be located at 25959 Laurel Avenue. The commission did approve the project, 4 in favor and 1 absent. I do want to note that there was one individual that spoke in regards to all 3 projects with concerns over solar panels being developed by forced labor in China. That individual was hoping that the commission would require the developers to adhere to the Solar Energy Industry Association Solar Supply Chain Traceability Protocol to ensure that forced labor is not used in the development of solar panels. So that was considered by the commissioners, but they chose to approve the projects as presented. There is a possibility that these projects could be appealed, and if so, then our staff would bring them before your board for consideration. This concludes my report, unless there's any questions.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Kinney. Questions from the board?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Nev, seconds.
Very good. So we have a motion and second to approve the monthly report of the Planning Commission's actions. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, we have 5 in favor, motion carries. Move to item 5C, which is from Public Works, and
He's coming in.
we have in-house presentation. Morning.
Morning. We're ready. This was a little bit impromptu. Okay, so Timber Shears, Kings County Park Superintendent. Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the board. I expected to be up until about 5 minutes doing this from my office, so we are. Here today to discuss the waiving of park fees as they relate to COVID. On April 13th, Public Works Director Dominic Tyberski brought this item before your board seeking direction on which modifications to implement, if any, for the reopening of our county parks. At that time, your board approved the reopening of parks while waiving park use fees until June 14th, or Governor Newsom has fully reopened the economy. While it appears the state of emergency will remain in effect, I have not seen any information contrary to the economy reopening as planned as of today. So with that, I recommend that your board approve the termination of Kings County Parks operational modifications on the state of California's full reopening by Governor Newsom. Doing so will, again, allow us to charge park use fees. And so with that, I'd be happy to try to answer any questions.
Thank you for the presentation. Questions from the board?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Richard Valley District 2. Mr. Chairman, two things here. One, I don't know if any of this is in the proposed budget, but it's been common to look around at other counties in the state of California and see them use their recovery funds that they're receiving. In the case of our 29 million, these funds have been used, I've seen, in 2 ways. One, to make the parks budget whole again from their negative impacts due to COVID. And in this case, if the total loss of revenue is right in the background memo, that would be $30,300. And so I wanted to get some information on that and see if the board has an appetite for that. The second thing that we see taking place, and I know money's hard to spend right now, but the other thing you see taking place is the counties using these recovery funds to just go ahead and waive the rest of the year, and using that as a tool to promote the parks again, revitalize the interest in the county parks, and as a way to draw interest for folks who've never been there, and hopefully they show up and they fall in love with their favorite park and they come back in the future and paying the fees. But anyways, Mr. Chair, those are 2 routes. I don't know if the board has any appetite for that, but I'd like to put it on the table for discussion and get some background and fiscal background info on that subject. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mrs. Campbell.
Yes, thank you, Supervisor Valley, for your concerns. Staff is working on that, and they are planning to bring a study session on June 22nd. So they will address your concerns when they do bring that forward.
Okay. But thank you. So would any action today on terminating the waiving of the fees right now, would you consider that to be premature?
Hmm,
Or I guess I would also put that question to the
yeah.
board too.
I'm not sure if that was considered with the working group, so we can certainly bring that to the working group and then bring that information back on the study session if you would like.
Supervisor Valley's Curio Martinez. Revenue loss is one of the options that the group is going to present next week as part of the study session.
Oh, thank you.
But not the fee waiver.
Correct.
Correct.
Supervisor Valley, given
Yes,
the
ma'am.
timing, you may want to move to table this until next week after the board decides. It might be awkward to eliminate the waiver and then reimpose it for the reasons you stated.
Thank you, council. Appreciate that. Mr. Chair, I don't know if anyone else has any discussion. I don't want to stop to terminate the discussion, but if not, I'd like to request out of from the board to go ahead and table this in light of that information, and then we can make a sounder decision after we get the presentation. So if you need the form of a motion there, Mr. Chair, and if you're ready to accept it, I'd like to put that on the table. Thank you.
Just a point of clarification, council. We do not have a motion that's been seconded on the item. Is there anything to table?
You're not tabling a motion, you're tabling the board's consideration of the matter. So you're saying let's hold on it on this agenda and move it for consideration to a future agenda.
Okay.
And given that the ARPA funds are coming to you in the form of a study session, you're not going to be taking action on the ARPA funds next week. So you may want to table it until the ARPA funds comes back for board action, at which time you could decide whether you wanted to extend the waiver through the end of the year based on a decision to make the department whole.
Okay. So is it the maker of the motion then has made the request to table? That's a full vote of the board then?
It needs a second before the full vote of the board. It would be a full vote, and there is no discussion on a motion to table.
Mr. Chair, I just have a point of clarification. Tim, you talk about terminating the operational modifications, and fees are just one of them. What are some of the other modifications that would go away with by terminating the governor's?
Well, the other modifications that we proposed in April were additional signage and hygiene, just stuff like that, basic hygiene associated with COVID. And we have working with Sandy, we had posted all the appropriate signage out there to, make us compliant, remind people that hygiene is the utmost priority. Those were the only modifications. I believe your direction was business as usual with the waiving of park use fees. And so that's how we've been operating. We just had the signage out there. That was really the only modification.
Yeah, because we really haven't instilled any populations or any social distancing. We haven't taken tables out or changed the size of some of the spots.
Correct. There's been no need to,
There's plenty of room.
there's plenty of room.
Yeah.
So basically the only modification has been the park use fees and limiting capacity in restrooms and stuff. But at this point, I was recommending that we waive the park use fees, but I'm ready to move forward any which way you choose. I just want to be clear that I know what we're doing when I leave.
Yeah, and so with that, Mr. Chair, yeah, I think part of the discussion is to just go ahead and terminate the operational modifications, but then suspend the fee side of it until the study session. That way, and with the extra heat, Tim, I'm not really sure where usage is going to go when it's 113.
This time of the year, it usually dips. It doesn't stop, but
Right.
it definitely dips
Yeah.
down considerably.
Yeah, so I don't think we'll, again, I think we probably should go ahead and take action to terminate the operational activities to be able to get the parks back online 100%, but then suspend the fee side till after the result of the study.
So Am I hearing an offer of a friendly amendment
Um,
to the
you
motion to
fix it?
table? Yes.
Definitely add that to amendment to it with Sugnev's direction there and clarification.
So as I understand it, the motion to table, it only applies to the fee waivers. And
Yeah.
Supervisor Neves suggested that you should extend the fee waivers until the study session, which means you couldn't take action on it at that time. Is that your motion, Supervisor Valley?
Yeah, Council.
Okay, and then there would need to be a separate motion related to eliminating the operational modification. Okay, so you have a motion as amended, second?
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, back to
Okay.
you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, we have 5 in favor on that issue. Now we'll bring it back for additional action on the item.
And Mr.
Mr. Chair, I'm happy to make a motion to move it.
Sorry, you cut out there. We didn't catch your motion.
I'm sorry, I thought I heard someone else making the motion. I'm sorry. I'm happy to make the motion to move to terminate the Kings County Parks operational modifications at this time.
Okay, and do we need to, Madam Council, do we need to define some sort of date, or it would just in perpetuity until we change it?
You could put a date on it, but I understood the motion to be that we're terminating the special COVID operational limitations and that would be indefinite.
Okay, and that's the intention.
Nev seconds.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley.
Aye.
Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, so we have 5 in favor, motion carries. I believe that takes care of this item, and thank you,
Sorry,
Mr.
just
Bashir.
so I'm clear, we're going to continue to fees, or we're going to begin charging?
Sounds like.
Just wanted to be clear.
They're gone.
So, in
No
perpetuity
fees.
right now until further.
Till after.
And then we reimburse your account with CARES Act money.
So the parks are free. Free.
Get out there.
We'll appreciate that as well.
Which brings up a good point. Are you still keeping track of attendance?
I do,
Okay.
yeah.
So you'll have those attendance numbers irregardless as you collect a fee.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, because that will help, I think, help a lot as well.
Yeah, I've been tracking that from the beginning. So when this is all said and done, any numbers you want, I will have.
And then with the hot temperatures, of course, the trees are over, but the Lemoore Golf Course seems to be losing trees in the hot weather. Are you seeing that, anything in the parks? I think you and your staff have done a great job of pruning and keeping the trees healthy.
I appreciate that, but that's mainly my staff that's doing that. The caretakers, I'm definitely out there for support and some guidance, which is rarely needed. They're doing an excellent job
Yeah,
at maintaining those.
Can't wear a tie. Not a chainsaw.
yeah.
Fingers are a little bit soft now,
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, they're doing an excellent job.
Yeah, let them know because that's surely greatly appreciated. Because you go by some of these other parks and golf courses, the hot weather, those trees start pumping water and then all of a sudden they start losing branches and.
Folks are gonna do that,
Yeah,
but they self-prune. We have
Correct.
to look out for that, but they're healthy, that's just part of their nature.
they look good. So,
Yeah, I will definitely let them know. Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Right. This time we'll move to item 5D, which is from administration.
Domingo's coming on the line.
Yes, good morning. So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good morning. Domingo Cruz, one of your administrative analysts in the administrative office. So this morning, I'm here to request that your board approve the county cash match for the Senate Bill 81 Round 2 Juvenile Center Remodel Project, and adopt a budget resolution for the Senate Bill 81 Round 2 Juvenile Center Remodel Project for submission to the Board of State and Community Corrections and State Department of Finance to proceed with construction financing. So on May 25th, 2021, your board awarded the bid for the County Senate Bill 81 Round 2 Juvenile Center Remodel Project, the SB 81 project, to the apparent lowest bidder, Bowie Constructors, Inc. So in order to proceed with construction financing, the State Public Works Board requires a board resolution identifying the county funding sources for costs in excess of the $9.6 million award from the state for the project. So the resolution also assures that the funding sources are lawfully available for the purpose of funding the project, and that the county covenants to appropriate funds for the project. So as presented on your May 25th, 2021 board meeting, the total cost of the project is $20,111,754. Funds for the county cash match are included in the recommended fiscal year 2021-2022 budget unit 700003, KCSB 81 project, account 94105, SB 81 project. So the state will provide $9,600,000 for the project, and the county is providing $10,511,754. So the cash match are provided by the following sources, which can be found on page 2 of the agenda item. As previously approved match dollars, we have from the capital outlay funds, $2,063,000. From the Mental Health Services Act capital funds, $600,000. And from the public protection impact fees, $1,530,000. For the new match dollars, there's a bit of good news here, as we don't have to borrow funds from the other impact fees. The youthful offender block grant reserves and the juvenile reentry grant fundings were in coordination with probation department. The chief probation officer was able to clear the use of these funding from the state. However, in order to move forward, as it was previously discussed, is to for the previously approved courthouse remodel project is to be on hold, and the impact fees designated for that project has been moved to this project. So the new match are from the public protection impact fees, $2,188,340, and from the youthful offender block grant reserve, we have $2,020,000 and $941. From juvenile reentry grant, we have $200,000, and from the capital funds, $1,909,473. So the contract agreement with Bowie Construction Inc. Will be returned to your board for approval at a later date. The estimated start of construction is July 27, 2021. And the estimated completion date is October 20, 2022 for a 15-month construction schedule. With that, and barring any question, I respectfully request that your board approve the county cash match for the Senate Bill 81 Round 2 Juvenile Center Remodel Project, and adopt a budget resolution for the Senate Bill 81 Round 2 Juvenile Center Remodel Project for submission to the Board of State and Community Corrections and State Department of Finance to proceed with construction financing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so at this time, questions, comments from the board?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Supervisor Raleigh.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Domingo, for the presentation. I don't know if you broke up in the chambers, but you were breaking up on my end a little bit. Did you did you state that the library impact fees were removed from the funding plan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I want to say thank you to all the staff that took those concerns as well and found another way to fund this this project. Mr. Chairman, the only concern I have, it's minimal, but if we can just get clarification on paragraph 3 on the last page of the resolution, right above the place for your signature there. Mr. Chairman, can we get some just some specifics on the need? I don't know if it's just based out of urgency, but just the need to have these signatures without board approval on any increase in project costs. But if we can get some information on that, because I think usually we have a limit on what the CAO could sign for, and in this case, you as the chairman of the board, up to a certain point where you can make urgent and quick necessary decisions, but usually this kind of stuff comes before the board. Can we get some background? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So how I've seen this go in the past is a lot of times as the project's moving forward, we'll have to renew some of our state agreements. And it's a simple process. It's done for the lease revenue bonds on their end. And so we'll have to give them a new renewal date or something like that. It's a state form that we have to fill out. I don't anticipate that if there's changes to the budget, that would come before the board. I don't anticipate that administration would be doing that on their own. We would come before the board for any changes like that. We would operate within our authority for change orders, and anything that exceeded that authority under the contract code would come before the board. So how I see this paragraph working is just for those state amendments that are required for the lease revenue bonds on their end, we will have the authority to execute those in a timely manner.
Thank you. But looking at paragraph 3, I don't see what you just said represented in the language. Is there a way we can modify the language? Because what's stated is that the chairman of the CAO are acting alone to agree and approve on behalf of the county any amendment resulting from the increase in the project costs. And so that doesn't, I'm not connecting your statement with that.
I don't think that'll be an issue to modify at all. We can make that change. And we can put in something in there to the effect that if the project costs increases, we will bring that back to the board if it's beyond the CAO's authority.
And it's not anything I don't want to come across as negative or mistrust. It's one, we would be given an unknown CAO because your departure, we would be, given an unknown CAO this authority, and I'm not comfortable doing that, not even knowing who that was. And it just kind of sticks out. So anyways, Mr. Chair, not to be negative, I don't know what the board's appetite is on either pulling this or modifying it up to a certain limit, at least, so it's not wide open. But that's the only concern I have. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for hearing me out.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Deb, second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Madam Clerk, please call a roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, we have 5 in favor, motion carries. We'll move now to item 5E, which is again administration. Ms. Campbell.
Good morning, board members. Kyria Martinez. Last year in 2020, a request for proposals was initiated for a state lobbyist contract. Chris Com was awarded the agreement, and their current agreement is due to expire on June 30th. This request is to renew their agreement with no change in the compensation. Some of the items that CRISCOM has accomplished this year, they helped us write our state legislative platform with administration staff. We have weekly calls with them. They provide responses almost immediately when inquiring on current pending or past legislation. At this time, staff requests to approve an annual agreement with the CRISCOM company for state legislative lobbying services and authorize the county administrative officer to sign.
Very good. Thank you. All right, bring it back to the board for discussion and action.
Approval.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Yep, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and I also see one of our esteemed members from the group, if you'd like to speak at this time.
Thank you, Chairman. Jason Segan here, Chief Operating Officer of the CRISCOM Company. Just wanted to take a quick moment and thank the county staff, Board of Supervisors. This past year, while it's been challenging, I think the county's done an exceptional job navigating the waters, especially up at the state level. Nobody really knew what to expect going into this session, and it's been entertaining and challenging, but I think we're better off for it. Like Carrie had mentioned, one of the first things we did was start with the legislative platform, which really assisted our firm in understanding the nuances of the county. And I think that helped immensely. Currently, just to give you guys a quick update on the budget, as you probably read yesterday, the state budget was passed by the legislature. But interestingly enough, it's a placeholder budget. And a lot of the items that are going to be included with member requests, like the requests that we have for the Kettleman City Bridge, are going to be hashed out a little later down the road. They wanted to pass a general agreement and budget placeholder, and now they're going to be working to negotiate with Governor Newsom on the member requests. So the county's been great in assisting us with getting the right information to them as we push hard. And lastly, I just wanted to thank Rebecca for this past year and wish her the best of luck. Really appreciated working with Rebecca, and our weekly calls were great. And just wish you the best of the best, Rebecca. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you. Okay, again, we do have a motion and a second on the item. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley.
Aye.
Doug Verboon,
Yeah.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, we have 5 in favor. Motion carries. We'll now move to item 5F. Again, administration.
Good morning, board members. Curio Martinez. In 1999, the tribe and the state entered into a tribal state compact between the state of California and the Santa Rosa community of the Santa Rosa Rancheria, which enabled the tribe through revenues generated by its gaming operation to improve the governance, environment, education, health, safety, and general welfare of its citizen, and to promote strong tribal government and provide essential government services to its citizens. There is a new compact with the state of California that will be in effect for 25 years. The compact will afford the tribe primary responsibilities over the regulation of its gaming facility and will enhance the tribe's economic development and self-sufficiency. The request before your board today is to sign a letter of support for the ratification of the Santa Rosa Rancheria Tachi State Compact.
Very good, thank you. And just for clarification, I announced this as 5F. It is 5E, and it is number 2 under 5E. So with that,
I'll make a motion to approve the presented. I got a call from Lehman McGee has to support this, go to the state. What we've done, I think, know that we support what they're doing.
I'll second that, Mr. Neves, the second, but the only thing is on the letter, in the second line where it says only 100 years ago, the tribe hasn't been around quite that long as far as the reservation. So, and I don't really think that only 100 years ago really adds anything to the discussion. So why don't you just scratch that off, and then that way it goes from tribal members were living in chicken coops and desolated farmland You know, and you could probably say cars in that discussion as well, if you want to add something to the discussion, but yeah, 100 years ago, that reservation has not been around for 100 years. And they were pretty much a nomad tribe that kind of would migrate from the Kettleman Hills to areas around the Tulare Lake. And it wasn't until the 30s when the federal government put them on the Santa Rosa Rancheria. So,
Okay, so just for clarification,
yeah, I don't know if I would, yeah, like I say, I would just take the 100 years off. And the rest of it, I think, was very, very appropriate.
okay, can we do that by consensus?
The motion would be to amend the letter and approve otherwise?
Okay,
I'm good.
Okay.
right. So we have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon.
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, we have 5 in favor, motion carries. Now we'll move to item 5F, which is administration.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Rebecca Campbell, County Administrative Officer. This is our weekly item regarding the pandemic. There was some activity this past week in an attempt to coordinate the Cal OSHA regulations with anticipated new guidance from the California Department of Public Health. The California Division of Occupational Health and Safety, Cal OSHA, voted to reverse recent changes to its emergency COVID-19 workplace rules and return with a new proposal after today's state's reopening. During a special meeting convened last Monday evening, the Cal OSHA board indicated it would amend its rules quickly to conform with guidance from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention that require masks for vaccinated individuals in limited indoor settings, including airports, hospitals, and nursing homes, among others. Unvaccinated individuals would be obligated to continue wearing masks indoors, but verification of vaccination status would remain voluntary. The changes are expected to be considered by the Cal OSHA board at their meeting on June 17th. Once adopted, the Office of Administrative Law would have 10 days to review, making new masking rules effective at the end of June. Until then, existing Cal OSHA guidance requiring masks indoors, regardless of vaccination status, are in effect. Also, the governor met in advance and put out some information before today's reopening about changes to executive orders, the stay-at-home order, and the blueprint for a safer economy. The governor is terminating the stay-at-home order that was implemented early in March of 2020 and retiring the blueprint for a safer economy. Effective today, restrictions such as physical distancing, capacity limits, and the county tier system will end. Additionally, the Newsom administration established a timeline and process to continue winding down the various provisions of the state's COVID-related executive orders. To ensure the impacted individuals and entities have time to prepare for the changes, the provisions will sunset in phases, beginning June 30th, in July, and in September. By the end of September, nearly 90% of the executive actions taken since March 2020 will be lifted. Finally, the California Department of Public Health released a new state public health officer order that goes into effect today. The order includes requirements around face coverings, details requirements for mega events, which will be reviewed no later than September 1 of 2021, and clarifies that the requirements previously issued for K through 12 schools, childcare programs, day camps, and other supervised youth activities remain in effect. And those are the updates that I have regarding the state. I will now turn it over to our Department of Public Health Director, Mr. Edward Hill.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Ed Hill, Public Health. As usual, I'm going to start my report by reminding everyone the simple steps we can all take to protect ourselves from communicable diseases such as COVID-19, and they are frequently wash your hands for 20 seconds or more. Don't touch your face with unwashed hands. Stay hydrated with water. A hydrated cell is a healthy cell. Stay home if you're sick, and continue to wear face coverings if unvaccinated and as long as the regulations require. My update is going to be brief today. Our daily numbers are available on our website, and we continue to watch hospital data closely. We did see a small increase in medical or general admissions and ICU admissions locally, but we are still seeing a decline in ICU and med-surg admissions regionally. As of 6/13/2021, the local hospital had 7 patients in med-surg and 2 patients in the ICU. This small increase is nowhere near the numbers we saw during the surge, but it's something we are watching very closely. Preliminary information on these cases indicate that a good proportion of them are old cases. You may recall in the past that I had reported to your board, and it's known throughout the COVID universe, that individuals that have been infected with the COVID virus and recover can test positive for up to 90 days afterwards. Our EPI team and communicable disease teams are evaluating these cases, and I'll update your board as we learn more, but we are continuing to watch it closely. Our PPE status has not changed, and we are still maintaining a 60-day supply of PPE. The mobile testing site program for this week is on our website. We have made some modifications are now offering testing at all of our clinics, and members of the public can get tested in these clinics in a climate-controlled environment. Our current metrics for the blueprint are our new cases per 100,000 is at 1.2, overall testing positivity is 1.4, and our testing positivity in the lowest quartile of the Healthy Places Index is at 1%. So this means that all of our metrics meet the yellow tier criteria, which is irrelevant, which I'll get into a little bit later on. Our test per 100,000 remains at 285.8. And then also the state announced last week that many of their testing requirements for things such as youth sports, schools, and other items will likely be switched from a requirement to a recommendation. As such, we're anticipating that our testing numbers will start to decline after these changes when they occur. I also need to point out today, as Ms. Campbell mentioned, and everybody's well aware, that the blueprint was retired, and yesterday was the last run of the blueprint data that the state has provided, so we will not be reporting those numbers in the future unless your board decides that that's something that they would like us to continue to provide. Public Health will continue to watch these metrics as well as all of our metrics on a regular basis, so we will be able to report them should your board chooses. Ms. Campbell addressed the new orders by Dr. Thomas Aragon, the State Health Officer, issued on June 11th that went into effect today. Also, CDPH has posted new guidance on their webpage for face coverings, post-vaccine cases, testing guidance, which I covered last week, and pregnancy and vaccine fact sheets. I also wanted to address some items being discussed and misunderstood. Today, the blueprint for the safer economy ended, as we all know, and capacity and social distancing requirements stopped, but the state emergency remains in place, as do some face covering requirements. I've heard conflicting stories on the radio. Also, as mentioned, CDPH and Cal OSHA and CDC are not in alignment with their guidance, and as such, many of the masking requirements will remain until their board holds their meeting on the 17th, also covered by Ms. Campbell. On the vaccine update, last week, Public Health administered 258 vaccines. We continue to have plenty of available appointments and vaccines in our inventory. Again, we have the capacity to provide 700 doses a day. So far, Kings County providers have administered 79,402 vaccines. On May 14th, we started vaccinating the 12 to 5 population, and so far, Kings County providers have administered 1,996 vaccines to this age group. Last week, we did hold a special vaccine event where the California Surgeon General joined us in Corcoran to personally administer vaccines to the 12 and older population. During her visit, Dr. Nadine Burke-Harris spent time thanking staff for all of their hard work, spoke about vaccine safety, and promoted the continued need to get vaccinated. She also thanked staff and our subcontractors for their work on adverse childhood experiences, otherwise known as ACEs. Also, the FDA announced last week that it will allow the extension of the Johnson & Johnson expiration dates for an additional 6 weeks after studies have shown that the extension of the expiration does not affect the efficacy of the vaccine. And then finally, before concluding my report, I would like to thank Rebecca Campbell for her service, her patience, and her support for public health during this pandemic. I'd like to wish her luck and success in her new role. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Anything further, Ms. Campbell?
I don't have any further updates. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. So that brings us to the end of our regular agenda items. We'll move now to board member announcements and reports.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, did you ask for questions for Ed Hill? I had one.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, sorry if I didn't hear you. Hey, Mr. Hill, the last week, our Latino Caucus California counties, we had our third conference call with Dr. Galley on and we had a good presentation from him on moving forward. But one of the things that stood out, and I wanted to get your take on it for the public, is he said with the masking going away, with the social distancing going away, that the state is expecting to see an increase in cases just due to the fact that per his opinion, that the unvaccinated people are just going to be in a more serious scenario with less people masking and the distancing going away, and the ability for this virus to grab onto the unvaccinated folks is going to we're going to see a spike in the numbers around the state. Do you anticipate that for Kings County, or based on our data of vaccinated people, do you see any kind of immunity that would help some of the unvaccinated population? Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Valley, for your questions through the chair. Yes, we will and we do anticipate seeing an increase in cases as restrictions are lifted. Every time that we've encountered a relax or a change in status, we always anticipate that change. I had reported that in the past. I apologize for not mentioning that today. But yes, as we release those restrictions, people begin to relax, start attending larger events where there are no social distancing requirements. We do anticipate seeing an increase in numbers. Again, the state has made it very clear that upon this change, the blueprint is being retired, but we will continue as well as the state to watch many of the markers. As you know, the state has indicated that one of the two categories that they're going to follow closely is the availability of vaccine, which right now the state and the nation is flush with vaccine. But the other category is hospitalizations of COVID positive patients, and then even more importance paid to what's known as breakthrough cases, or individuals that have been fully vaccinated or fully recovered. They contract the virus again and then they're hospitalized. So again, that's why we're watching that data very closely. But we do anticipate a change in the cases as a result of the relaxed restrictions.
Thank you for that information. And I just want to wrap up, Mr. Chairman, by saying that it was, as Ed Hill pointed out, very nice for the Surgeon General to, during her comments, to point out and thank the healthcare workers, the health department workers that were in attendance in Corcoran last week for their efforts. And I just want to echo those those words of gratitude for those folks, as well to Mr. Hill, and thank Mr. Hill for his service during this pandemic as well. And he's continued to be helpful. He was helpful yesterday in Corcoran at a meeting that we had yesterday morning in Corcoran. And thank you for coming down to that, Mr. Hill, and adding to that. And then lastly, Mr. Chairman, as we had the presentation from the CAO on, whether we're masking or not masking at work, and folks returning back, I would just hope that the message is, after everything we've been through during the pandemic, that the message is also just to be kind to each other in the workplace. If somebody chooses to wear a mask because they want to wear a mask, just leave them alone, and vice versa. So I think that's part of the message we should put out there too. It's just time to be kind. It's been a long time what we all went through. And so look forward to a brighter day at Kings County. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And if you have, do you have any further on board member announcements?
No, Mr. Chairman, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, Supervisor Neves.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kings Waste and Recycling had a special meeting where we addressed the operational and efficiency needs of the organization. It was presented pretty comprehensive report dealing with everything from finances to operations, and we'll continue to work through those issues out at Kings Waste and Recycling. The Housing Authority also had a special meeting to be able to review and accept the fiscal audits of the respective organizations dealing with the Housing Authority, and really want to thank staff for another clean audit and well-run organization as it continues to meet some of those needs. And I think we had a good discussion on the ability to collect rents and be able to keep people in the place even though they're not paying rents, and be able to address that in future audits. The Calviva Public Policy Committee also had a quarterly meeting, and we reviewed operations as well as followed up on grievances and received updates on their operational audits, and continue to work through some of the changes. Calviva also celebrated their 10-year operational milestone and continue to work through those transitional changes of the executive director leaving, clients. So we're gonna have a new set of faces up there when everybody comes back in. Right now we're thinking July or August before that opens up post-COVID. Calvan's meeting was postponed as we are not quite done with the budget yet, but hopefully we'll have a special meeting sometime this month and be able to get Calvan's spending plan in place. Continue to announce at Lemoore Raceway with about 70 cars in part of the action on Saturday. Due to the hot weather, they've already canceled the races for this coming weekend, and we'll continue to work through there. Yesterday, Sequoia Inn had a ribbon cutting for the reopening of their motel. The Santa Rosa Rancheria has invested almost $1 million in remodeling, painting, floor covering, drapes, and really did a great job with that motel, and continues to work through the Santa Rosa Rancheria and the Palace. The Kings County Shelter Replacement Meeting was also held yesterday, where we received updates from a variety of working groups, the site, financing, and continue to work on plans on how to address the homeless population. Also last night, the Lemoore Little League had a drive-through taco dinner, which was very good. Didn't have to cook, didn't have to clean up, just throw everything away. Everything was good. And the Lemoore High School bond oversight meeting last night is probably going to be extended one more meeting. Most of the bond issues issued have been spent, but because of delays in delivery and change orders and cost overruns, it's probably going to move into July, which means another fiscal year. And so we'll probably have to have one more meeting to adequately disperse those funds. But all of the projects have come in within the contingency amounts, but there is some outstanding improvements inside one of the learning centers, that desks, chairs, everything else. And then one of the remodels in the science wing has been changed a little bit, but I think we're still going to be able to spend all of them. And then just the hot weather warning, the weather is predicting triple digits for the next 5 days starting tomorrow, with some extremely high heats in the 110, 111, 115. I even heard in one place, but typical San Joaquin Valley hot. Hopefully it cools off at night. Drink plenty of fluids and find plenty of shade. And with that, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You don't have to worry about motor safety or swimmer safety in the river because it is dry.
Well, but they did release water, so that, which is almost almost bad because now you're gonna have hot weather and you're gonna have water, the first water coming down the river that probably usually has the more trash, has all of the driftwood and all of the other obstacles to swimming and boating and water activities. Plus that water coming out of the dam is probably, it's probably going to be 55, 60 degrees on a 110-degree day, just to have a lot of shock going into that kind of water. But I would expect the water to be pretty, the first 2 or 3 days of water is usually pretty nasty.
I don't believe it's gonna come in 15 county though, it's gonna go on the coast loop. More prevalent, so.
More, yeah, you're right.
Faster, narrower channel.
But yeah, because of agriculture, you have wells, you have canals, and canal safety, water safety is very, very important. You know, kids and grandkids with pools and even slip and slides and everything else. It's just the sun's going to be very hot, the temperature is going to be very hot. Just keep track of your kids, parents, and pets. You know, because the hot weather is just going to be tough on everybody. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Fagundes.
Yeah, I attended the farmers market Thursday night and well attended, a lot of people mingling, good to see, a lot of fruit. Everybody's eating all of it, but they were eating. And a lot of graduation parties still going on from graduations and late parties, and everybody's kind of enjoying themselves. Good to see. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Boone.
Last week I was invited to attend the San Joaquin Valley, California Partnership for San Joaquin Valley, discuss all the drought related issues to take care of our disadvantaged communities, and that has come up with a plan or a webpage that has access for all, anybody that has any kind of water issues. There's a discussion. I think we're going to meet again here in about 2 weeks. I take this time to thank, first off, Greg Gaska for his time he's been here in King County. Look forward to working with him at his new job as city manager of Parkland. The good here did a really good job for the community development agency. I think we're going to benefit from him being in Parkland, have a good working relationship with the city of Parkland. I also want to take this time to thank Ms. Campbell for her years of dedication to the County King, 16, I believe, right?
16.
Yep, and a CAO for 3 years, plus she got active in assistant CAO and deputy CAO, and her knowledge in finance is above many. I appreciate your hard work and dedication, what you've done. You'll be a great asset to the county of San Luis. I look forward to working with you in San Luis as well. I think they have some of the same water issues we do, involving some of the same people. It'll be nice to have an insight of what they're doing to help offset that. So wish you all the best in your endeavors, and I know you're still young and you will achieve many things in your life, and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Supervisor. And for me, had a couple events in the last couple of weeks. I joined our Public Health Director, Mr. Hill, and Supervisor Valley down in Corcoran for the Surgeon General's visit, and thanked her for all of the state's help with the COVID crisis, and it was a good visit with her. Also visited with the president of Adventist Health, Andrea Kofel, and Bucky Weeks, discussed kind of their direction and how they're adjusting their directions and the directions they're going, and just how we can better coordinate, public health in Kings County, working through them and with our public health department, and committed to try and put some meetings together to make that a little more cohesive. Also, I guess in closing, attended my daughter's graduation from Cal Poly. I want to congratulate her. Her next steps, she applied for the California State Senate Fellows Program and was accepted. She starts in October, and when she finishes that in August of 22, I think it's off to law school. At least that's the plan at this point. So just wanted to congratulate her on all of her hard work. And then finally, again, thanking our CAO, Ms. Campbell, and for all your service. I know I, spent a number of weekends during COVID here, trying to follow up and work on issues, and you and your staff were always here, going above and beyond, putting the time in, the things that people don't see and recognize, the challenges, the endless challenges, and trying to find a way to fund those endless challenges. And to all of you, and especially to you, I wish you the best in all your endeavors, and I know you'll do well, and you'll be closer to surfing. So with that, thank you again for your service, and we'll miss you. All right. At this point in time, we'll move to board correspondence.
Well, thank you for all the kind words. I know I've had a number of people reach out to me. Thank you to the board. Thank you to those in the public that reached out to me. And, honestly, it feels pretty surreal coming in for the last day. It's almost, I was a ball of nerves this morning, a little bittersweet. And I'm not even retiring. So, I just want to say thank you to all the department heads, to all of the county employees that work so hard here, and especially to my staff that they have, they gave me a cup yesterday that said something to the effect, "We know you won't find a better staff." And I believe that's true. So thank you all. It's been a pleasure. And I wish the county and everyone that works here and the public the best in the future. And I will certainly miss it. And I will be back. So moving on to correspondence. There is one item in correspondence from the city of Hanford, a notice of availability offered to sell some surplus properties. And this particular one is located at 426 West Lacey Boulevard. And there's actually a few. There's Hanford and 109 East, 8th Avenue in Hanford. So there's a couple of notices in there for property available. Upcoming meetings and events. From Placer County Water Agency, there's a petition for change regarding water. Also, the budget hearings are scheduled for August 17th and 18th. We have a large meeting scheduled for next week. There's a number of items, and here we go. We have the COVID-19 update, an updated SB 81 Juvenile Center contract. All of the defense of the accused public defense contracts will come for their annual renewal. As we stated before, the American Rescue Plan will have a study session. From the Ag Commissioner, we will have an agreement with the state regarding certified farmers market inspection activities. From Behavioral Health, there's a number of items. We'll have an agreement for treatment centers for outreach narcotics treatment program, an agreement for telepsychiatrist and medical director with Dr. Weisenhunt. We'll have an amendment to an agreement with WestCare California for substance use disorder program, an amendment to an agreement with Mental Health Systems for assertive community treatment full service partnership services. From the District Attorney's Office, an out-of-state travel request. From Department of Finance, we'll have an ordinance regarding booking fees and the end of year budget transfer request item. Human Services Agency will bring a family self-sufficiency demonstration development grant before the board, as well as an Abage coaching and consulting for consulting services item. From IT, there'll be an annual maintenance agreements with Microsoft for the operating system and Office suite software, so important. And also the Cherry Road and PeopleSoft support item. And from Public Works, there'll be a resolution approving the California High-Speed Rail Improvement Plan. And that's all we have for next week. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we have reached close to the adjournment, but we do have a closed session today. That is item 7, and we have multiple items. Starting with significant exposure to litigation, one case, Government Code Section 54956.9. Significant exposure to litigation, 2 cases, Government Code Section 54956.9. Personnel matter, Government Code Section 54957, Public Employee Appointment, County Administrative Officer. Personnel matter, Government Code Section 54957, Public Employee Appointment, Community Development Agency. And also conference with labor negotiator, meet and confer, Government Code Section 54957.6. Those items that fall under that are the general CLOSIA, supervisors, CLOSIA, blue collar SEIU, probation officers association, management firefighters association, detention deputy association, prosecutors association, deputy sheriff's association, unrepresented management as well. And Madam Clerk, do you expect any reporting out? Clerk, gosh, I had to do it again, right? Madam Counsel.
Sitting where she usually sits, so I get it. I do not anticipate we will be reporting out, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So we will move to closed session. We do have an 11 o'clock Board of Equalization meeting. And so we'll cover as much ground as we can in closed session, and then we'll break for our Board of Equalization meeting if need be. And then if we need be, we'll re-enter closed session at that time. So with that,
Mr. Chair, is the 11 a.m. back on this link?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
okay. Any further information to come before the board this time? Seeing none, meeting adjourned.
Okay, good morning. Today is June 15th, 2021, a regular meeting of the Kings County Board of Equalization. Due to the COVID crisis, we are doing this by the web, on the WebEx system. First order of business is roll call by district.
Joe Nevs,
Here.
Richard Valley. Richard Valley, Deb Graboon,
Here.
Craig Peterson,
Here.
Richard Fagundes.
Here. Okay, we have 4 members present, 1 absent. The next order of business is the reorganization of the Board of Equalization to elect a chairman and vice chairman for 2021. This time I open nominations for chairman and vice chairman for 2021. Motion by, so I need a motion to go to the chairman.
Mr. Chair, move Craig Peterson be nominated chair.
Okay, and I got a second from Supervisor Fagundes.
Is that to also close the nominations?
Close nomination?
Close number.
That's what I thought I
Okay,
heard.
and
Thank you.
then Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley, Deb Graboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, at this time, we have voted to move Supervisor Peterson as chairman, and I will turn the meeting over to him at this time to conduct the rest of it.
Okay. We'll move to item 2B, which is the
Vice Chair.
Office of,
Oh, he doesn't need that. That was just for you.
yeah, to the Office of Vice Chair, the Board of Equalization is declared vacant and a call for nomination is made.
Nominate Supervisor Joe Nevs and close the nomination.
Second.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley, Deb Graboon, Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Okay, we have 4 in favor, 1 absent. We'll now move to item 3, which is unscheduled appearances. Any person may directly address the board at this Board of Equalization at this time on any item on the agenda or other items of interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. 3 minutes are allowed for each item. Do we have anyone requesting
I see
comment?
no one with hands up, and we did not receive any written requests.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We will move then to item 4, which is approval of the December 15th, 2020 regular meeting.
If there are no questions or comments, Mr. Chair, move for adoption of the minutes.
Second, we're done.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley, Deb Graboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
I'm going to abstain from that. And
Fagundes.
for goodness, how do you vote? Or did he vote yes?
He voted
He
yes.
voted yes. Okay. So we have 3 in favor, 1 abstention, and 1 absent. All right, we'll move now to regular items. And item 5A, which is consider accepting a withdrawal on application for change assessment number 19-021 filed by International Appraisal Company.
Chair Nevs moves to consider accepting the withdrawal as outlined by the chair.
Second. Done.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please call roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley, Deb Graboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
We have 4 in favor, 1 absent.
Mr. Chair, Supervisor Valley is saying that the host needs to let him in.
Okay, here, Alfred, did you hear that? Mm-hmm, yes.
He might be on the closed session one, but
I was going to say he may need to leave and then try to rejoin the meeting. Somebody else had this issue this morning as well, because we don't actually utilize the lobby functionality.
Okay, and I do see him present now. Supervisor Valley, can you hear us? We can see your name, but we can't hear your voice.
Looks like he dropped out. He may be
Okay.
dropping and rejoining.
Okay, well, let's go ahead with item 5B, which is consider accepting withdrawal on application for change assessment number 20-010 filed by Paramount Property Tax Appeal.
Mr. Chair, Nevs moves as outlined by the chair.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
I'll abstain, Madam Clerk. I barely caught the last 5 seconds. Thank you.
thank you. Deborah Boone,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Yes.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, we have 4 in favor, 1 abstention. We'll now move to item C of regular items. And we will note that Supervisor Valley has also joined the meeting as well. So again, on to item 5C of the regular items, which is consider accepting a withdrawal on application for change assessment number 20-011 filed by Paramount Property Tax Appeal.
Mr. Chair, move as presented by the chair.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please call roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Deborah Boone,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, we have 5 in favor. Motion carries. So we'll now move to regular item D. Consider accepting withdrawal on application for change assessment number 20-012 filed by Paramount Property Tax Appeal.
Nevs moves to accept as presented by the chair.
Second. We're done.
Okay, motion and second. Please call roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley.
Aye.
Deborah Boone,
Yep.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, we have 5 in favor. Motion carries. Last item on the docket, item E, consider accepting withdrawal on application for changed assessment number 20-013 filed by Paramount Property Tax Appeal.
Nevs moves as outlined by the chair.
Second.
Okay, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Deborah Boone,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, we have 5 in favor. Motion carries. That is all we have on the docket today. Any further information to come before the board? Hearing none, we will move to adjournment and we will reconvene as the Board of Supervisors in closed session.